It's time for another episode of the Film Room, and today we're going to look at Georgia linebacker Jalon Walker. One of the best defenders on this Georgia defense, a guy that a lot of people have buzzing about being a first round pick and a potential star NFL linebacker. So, if you're not familiar with what I do in these videos, I like to take clips from different games. In this case, we're going to look at Walker's games against Texas and Alabama. And I'm going to take clips and plays from those games to kind of showcase the type of player he is, what he could potentially do in the NFL, and what he could do for the team that ends up drafting him. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into the tape. Now, the thing to know about Jalon Walker is he is an attacking linebacker. Here he is lined up behind the sky cam as a stacked linebacker, and he is, in this defense, an attacker. He's always looking to attack, to blitz, to just chase down the running back or the quarterback. In this case, against Texas, I got Arch Manning back there. He's used it a lot as a spy. We'll see that against Alabama. We see that here against Arch Manning, where he's just kind of hanging back, saying, I'm watching you. But then as he takes off, we see the burst, we see the closing speed to end up getting Manning. I don't know if you're going to call that a sack or if that you're going to call that a tackle for loss. It looked like it was a pass. But we just see the speed. We see the closingness for Walker and his ability to prevent this play from doing anything. We see another example of this once again against Texas. Here he is, left inside linebacker. Texas is going to run, kind of away from him. We see the action to his side, so he comes up quick off the edge. But as we see Ewer's turn, we see the pulling tight end. They're going to the right of Walker, but he's able to just burst down that line and end up making this tackle. And we see just once again that speed and the explosiveness. Kind of took an extra step at the change of direction, but he made up for that with his burst to go down and end up making that tackle in the hole, all from the backside. Walker is a pretty good run defender. I showed a couple clips of him just using his speed and quickness, explosiveness to chase down the ball carrier. Here against Texas, we're going to see him being able to stack and shed. So at the snap, this ball's going inside. Walker, the right defensive end, is able to come up, and he's going to engage right here with this tight end, but then be able to come off and make that tackle. And it's, not a great block by the tight end, but still shows his ability to come up, fill a hole, not only take on a blocker, but then shed off to make that tackle. And it's just plays like this that you want out of your stacked linebackers. Now, as I mentioned, he's an attacking player, and Georgia used him in a lot of different roles, and one of those was as a blitzer and essentially an edge pass rusher. So here he is, once again, by the sky cam, right defensive end, and he's going to come off hard at this snap, and I love this play right here. A little quick inside move to get around that tight end, that little chip block, and then he's going to push and come off to get the sack. And no real great pass rushing move here, other than that little lateral cut. But it's just the speed, the tenacity to kind of come off this edge, attack the left tackle, and then keep himself free so he's able to make that sack when Ewer steps up. He gets that left inside hand right there that keeps the left tackle off his body. And this is a good left tackle. This is Kelvin Banks Jr. This is a guy that's potentially a top 10 pick, potentially, for sure, a first-round pick probably. And Walker's able to kind of, like I said, keep himself free and then go finish the play. We see that again here against Banks and Texas. He's going to come hard off this edge and just doesn't quit on this play, and he's able to end up getting pushed in and get the sack right here. But a lot of that was due to him just not giving up on the play, showing that tenacity, showing that effort off this edge run. Despite kind of getting stonewalled, he's still able to affect the play and essentially get the sack here. But one thing I do want to highlight, and I saw this a lot with him, is he doesn't really have much of an edge rush. For as good as this play is, as good as his effort and his tenacity, as I mentioned, was, too often when he rushes off the edge, what's his move right here? He's just going at this left tackle. And that's what I saw a lot of. There wasn't a swim move. There wasn't a club. There wasn't a spin, a rip or anything. He just tends to just try to win around the edge, and when he can't, he just goes into the tackle. And you'd like to see a guy who a lot of people are comparing him to Micah Parsons. You'd like to see more of a pass rushing repertoire from him. Now, Walker wasn't solely used as a pass rusher off the edge. He also rushed from the interior, and I love this play here against Alabama, lined up as the left on the left-hand side, and he's going to go up against this right guard. And as I just mentioned, I didn't see much of a pass rushing repertoire. We do see this play right here where he kind of gives a little shake, a club, and he's able to get in and get a quarterback hit. This was the one time in 3 games that I saw where he rushed and actually used a pass rushing move. As I said before, it's often just his speed and quickness trying to get by guys. Maybe a bull rush. Here, I love this little stutter step and then that club that gets him on the edge and a free run at Milroe. Now, Georgia didn't ask Jalon Walker to play much in coverage, but he did show some flashes. So here he is right here, right defense, right inside linebacker. And at the snap, he's going to drop off. And I like, it's simple. He's just playing over the middle zone, but I love that his ability to get some depth as we see here. He's able to just nicely drop, take away, essentially take this away. This looks like, based off of Milroe's eyes, he's looking to go right here. And Walker's ability to get depth takes that away. He sees this tight end kind of coming out. He's a little ways away, so it's not like he's going to close this gap and make that play with the ball in the air. But he's able to sprint out there to be able to go be in a position to make the tackle. And so you don't see this much out of Jalon Walker. He's not asked to do this. But when he is, he does show some ability to play in coverage. And another example of that is here against Alabama. He's lined up kind of essentially not covering this guy in the slot. You have this guy right here, but he is helping off. And he's just able to read the quarterback, look over and see this wide receiver making a slant or a cut inside. He's able to just come forward. Once again, not a lot of effort, nothing spectacular, but it just shows that he's got some ability. He understands somehow to play in coverage. So while he's not asked to do it on a regular basis, he's still, in the limited times that he does, shows the flashes of what you need to do in coverage as a linebacker. There's a lot to like about Jalon Walker as an NFL draft prospect. His aggressiveness, his speed, his burst. He makes a lot of splash plays that you love to see out of your linebackers. But if you look at it, for linebackers to be successful in the NFL, they have to be able to hit, run, and cover. They've got to be able to come up and stop the run. They've got to be able to go sideline to sideline, and they've got to be able to play in coverage. And the best linebackers in the NFL do that. And when you look at Jalon Walker's, I think he can hit and run very well. The question is the coverage. And I showed you a couple clips there at the end that showed he had some fundamental knowledge, some fundamental skill set that can show that he can play at a minimum over the middle zone in the NFL. But it kind of concerns me a little bit that he isn't asked to play in coverage much. And a lot of times that's a little telling. When he's asked to pass rush and so much, that is a little concerning. But then you could say, well, hey, look at Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is the guy that he gets compared to quite a bit. Micah Parsons doesn't drop into coverage much. And I get that. Micah Parsons, when he was at Penn State, they moved him around, put him off the edge, and that's where I kind of saw Parsons being his best coming in. And Walker, I get that comparison, but I think Walker and Parsons are two different types of beasts, because Parsons showed the ability to be a pass rusher. And Walker has stats, and I showed you a couple sacks that he had, a couple quarterback hurries, but he didn't really have any pass rushing moves. And that concerns me a little bit. Did Micah Parsons have a ton of pass rushing moves when he came out? Probably not, but he still had some. And I think that's my biggest concern with Jalon Walker. And I saw Justin Reed of ESPN had, I think, a really good comparison. He compared him a lot to Frankie Louvu, the linebacker for the Washington Commanders, who plays a very similar game. He's not asked to play in coverage. He's essentially a blitzing linebacker that fits very well in Dan Quinn's scheme. So I think that's the guy that we're looking at for Jalon Walker. I'd love to see him continue to develop pass rushing moves, and that could come because he's got the traits needed. But if you're looking at him to be a top 10 pick, even a top 15 pick, I don't quite see that. I could see him going in the first round, but it'd probably be in the second half. But I think he's very scheme specific. And maybe he's a strong side linebacker in the NFL. Maybe you put him in a 3-4 and you can kind of move him around. But you're gonna have to know what to do with him when you draft him. And I think because of that, I could see him falling in this 2015 draft. Fantastic player, but I think he's a guy that's got to fit with the right team. So it'll be curious to see who that ends up being. All right, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode of the Film Room. If you like what you've seen, make sure you subscribe to the channel and then hit that bell so you get a notification anytime I put out a new video. Make sure you go out and follow me on social media. Wherever you do social media, make sure you follow. TikTok's the place where I tend to give my opinions on stuff. Here on YouTube is going to be more of my videos. And then Twitter, X, whatever you call it, that's where I'm going to kind of put out some of my quick little scouting reports on these players. So make sure you follow me on all those social media. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time.